radio home for New York Mets baseball. 880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS FM HD2, New York.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Tuesday, September 25th, 2025. News broke about 20 minutes ago. Adam Schefter is one who broke it. Jaxson Dart is the new quarterback of the New York Giants. So the Russell Wilson experiment is over after 3 games. There's so many layers to this. There's so many problematic things about this. And let's get right to it. So you wasted $10.5 million on Russell Wilson. Think about that. You gave him 3 games. You knew what he was. You saw what he did last year with Pittsburgh. You wasted $10.5 million of Mara and Tish's money. They make too many of these mistakes. They really do. They wouldn't spend the extra couple of million to keep Saquon Barkley. They would not cut Graham Gano, although he's been hurt 3 times now, and you're leaving your coach 3 times in a game without a field goal kicker. Tell me that didn't impact Sunday night's game. I'm not going to say they would have won, but it would have played out a little bit differently. You knew you were going to make that trade. You wanted to get Jaxson Dart. You get Jaxson Dart. Why is there Russell Wilson? Why is there Jameis Winston? And if you had such little faith in Russell Wilson, why'd you sign him? Why didn't you just go with Jameis Winston? It was a lot cheaper. I mean, we talk about cap situations and things like that and restructuring Andrew Thomas's contract in order to make cap room. You wasted $10.5 million on a starting quarterback that you gave 3 games to. 1 game in which he was great. Now, we have to temper that a bit because with the Cowboys getting slapped around by the Bears, that game is not as impressive as we once thought it was. 452 yards, and now he's out. And really, what good is he on the team anymore? I mean, if they wanted to do the right thing, they'd release him. You've neutered the guy. You've embarrassed the guy. 3 games. Now, one thing that I hope that this is not, some kind of a crumb that's thrown to the fans. Fans are loud. You listen to the sports radio shows, everybody wanted Jaxson Dart. Because fans are fans. I understand that. They're fanatics. And the Giants are not an entertaining product. And what Russell Wilson did on Sunday night was embarrassing. You're throwing away a 4th and goal? For what? You threw away the ball. You threw it in the goalpost on 4th and goal. There was no down after that. You lost the game. That's the best you could come up with. And in the same drive, you do the intentional grounding where you throw the ball into the tunnel. It wasn't a good look for Russell Wilson. And I'm not saying that maybe it's not time for him to step down as the starting quarterback. But are you doing this because you don't think he can be a quarterback anymore? Or are you doing this because the fans are screaming for it? And are you doing this if you're Brian Dable to save your job? And are you doing this because maybe John Mara is asking for it? All bad excuses. Because the bottom line is this. You've made the change to Jaxson Dart after 3 games. What happens if he stinks for the next 4 games? You pull the plug on him and go to Jameis Winston? Because in a move that Brian Dable might be thinking, maybe this saves my job. It doesn't save your job if he's not good. And you mean to tell me he's ready after 3 games, but he wasn't ready at the start? What did he learn in those 3 weeks? You brought him in a couple of times, and then you threw to us this line. I wouldn't put him in there if I didn't think he was ready. Well, ready for what? To hand off the football? That's not ready for anything. You didn't trust him. You didn't trust him to throw the ball. You brought him in to hand the ball off. That's not trust. So what kind of package is he going to have this weekend against the Chargers? Is it going to be a full package of plays? Is he going to be allowed to actually do something? But again, the question I have is if he's ready now, why wasn't he ready at the start? And why are you starting him against the Chargers, a team that's extraordinarily well coached, that has a quarterback that could absolutely shred the Giant defense? Why don't you wait one more weekend? Why don't you start him against the Chiefs so he has a soft landing spot? Instead, you start him now. Are you feeling the heat? Is that it? Do you feel the heat? Because that's the wrong reason to make a move. The only reason that Jaxson Dart should be starting is if he's ready. And if he's ready now, then tell me why he wasn't ready 3 weeks ago. What did he learn in those 3 weeks? I know they like to jerk around the public, and they like to talk above our head, and they like to say, oh, you don't understand, you're not at practice. What did he learn in 3 weeks? How is he a more complete quarterback now than he was at the start of the season? Because everything that he showed us noobs, in preseason was excellent. But we were told, you know what, he doesn't have a full package of play. 3 weeks. The unthinkable happened. So is it because Russell Wilson wasn't good in 2 of the 3 games? Is it because of the fans? Is it because of the owner? Is it because you're trying to save your backside? What is it? The whole thing smells awful. And I have been saying this since the end of last year. And I'm sorry if it comes off as saying I told you so. The whole setup is fraught with negativity. You can't bring a coach back and say, well, you have to play important games in December. You can't bring a coach back and have that leash so short that it's about 3 links. You can't do that. You either fire him at the end of the year or you give him an extension. Do you believe in him or not? You can't be half pregnant, John. You can't be half pregnant. You can't bring him back with the condition he has to have important games in December. He might not have important games in October, dude. Then what do? Are you going to pull what the Jets did and fire him? That's why the Jets are a laughingstock. They fired their coach so early. For what reason? What did he do? You put a guy in who wasn't prepared to coach, who didn't coach. So all the people that called in yesterday on the show, I think they should get rid of Dable now. For what? Who are you putting in as the coach? The only coach that would actually move the needle that you could bring in now if you fire the head coach right now would be you make a call to North Carolina and you bring in Bill Belichick. And that might be the wrong move too. Because you're bringing in Bill Belichick, you're bringing in the Jordan Hudson circus, the whole deal. But that would move the needle. Giving Mike Kafka the job, does that move the needle? Giving Shane Bowen the job, does that move the needle? How'd that work out for the Jets last year? The whole thing smells like I'm trying to save my backside. And that's a bad way to coach. It's a bad way to manage. Because the great ones, the ones with virtue, they don't do things to save themselves. They do things for the good of the organization. Is going to Jaxson Dart right now for the good of the organization? Or are there other reasons why you did it? Because if Brian Dable is forced by the owner of the job, I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just going over all the things that might be going on. If Brian Dable is forced by the owner to do this, you know what Brian Dable should do? And it's easier for me to say than for him to do because there's only 32 of these jobs. You say, you know what? I can't do this. I'm going to resign. You can't have an owner tell you what to do. You can't. The best owners stay back. They show you the money. They give you the facilities. They give you everything to hang yourself. And then if you hang yourself, you hang yourself. But owners can't be making decisions. Because we know now, because this is out in the open, John Mara said in the press conference at the end of the year, I don't want him to be the offensive coordinator. I don't want him calling plays. And he's not calling plays. So you took the thing that he does supposedly best, and you took it away from him, and he did it. Does Brian Dable really believe that the best thing for the Giants is that he's not calling plays when that's his strength? That's why he got the job? That's why he was thought of highly enough to actually interview for jobs. And you took that away from him to turn him into a glorified CEO. How's it working out? You're 0-3. And by giving the ball to Jaxson Dart, you better be more imaginative than you did with poor Russell Wilson. You better be. The plays you ran for Russell Wilson, it's embarrassing. My 10-year-old could call better plays, more imaginative plays. If you look at the offenses of great coaches, and then you look at what the Giants have done in the first 3 weeks of the season, you're kind of embarrassed. You're kind of embarrassed. And now I know that Andy Reid has one of the great quarterbacks of all time, but what are the other weapons that Patrick Mahomes has? His 2 top wide receivers are out. His tight end is nowhere close to what he used to be, and still they ran innovative plays to get people open. Look at the plays that the Rams run. Look at the plays that Shanahan calls in San Francisco. And then look at what the Giants did. Malik Neighbors had 2 catches for 13 yards. There better be something more innovative and imaginative to get this kid through his NFL starting debut. So if you joined us late and you just turned on the radio, Adam Schefter reported about a half hour ago that Jaxson Dart will be the starting quarterback this weekend. Talk about a bleep show. If Nick Saban was here, because he's allowed to say this on TV, he'd actually say what I meant. And that's what this is. You're changing quarterbacks after 3 games. To me, that's like when an organization fires a coach after 5 games. Then you don't know what you're doing. Why would you even bring him back? Like what the Jets did last year. If you're going to change your starting quarterback after you paid him $10.5 million after 3 games, then your evaluation of him was way off. Way off. Your coaching of him was well under what it should be. And you can't say, well, he's a 36-year-old quarterback. I know he's a 36-year-old quarterback, and he had things on tape from last year. Did you watch the last 5 games for the Steelers last year? Did you see that he did nothing, that he couldn't get the team into the end zone, and still you gave him $10.5 million? Now, I know what your excuse is going to be. Well, I mean, we tried for Matthew Stafford. Stafford's too smart. Why get yourself involved here? Well, we tried for Aaron Rodgers is too smart. Why would you put yourself in a situation where a guy's coaching for supper? So then your third choice was this guy. And you had such belief in him that you gave him a $10.5 million guaranteed contract and you kept him as the starter for 3 games. This is not like it was with Kurt Warner and Eli. Kurt Warner actually played very well for those first 9 games. And then Tom Coughlin and the front office decided, you know what? Now it's time. We made the trade to get Eli. We gave up a lot. He's going to be the quarterback. And Eli was dreadful at the beginning. That you actually thought he was going to get killed. That's not this now. That's not this. Giants brought in Kurt Warner, and he played well, and the team was in a playoff position or fighting for a playoff. The Giants bring in Russell Wilson this time, and it's a joke. You wasted $10.5 million. You didn't have to. If you're going to give the quarterbacking job this quickly, why? If he was this bad, why did you pursue him? There was nobody else out there? I mean, Joe Flacco's probably better, right? He was out there. There were other quarterbacks out there. You got Jameis Winston for what? $2 million? And you decided to give Russell Wilson $10.5 for what? You didn't believe in him. If you're going to pull the plug after 3 games, you don't believe in him. And I'm not saying this is the wrong move, but optically it's so bad. The Giants are a laughingstock. If you had started Jaxson Dart at the beginning of the year, nobody would say a word. But you're starting him 3 games in. I mean, we're talking about this at the beginning. Well, when's the best time to do it? I said, probably around Thanksgiving. Some people said maybe game 5 against the Saints. Nice landing spot. It's game 4 against the Chargers. And tell me that's a good idea. Let's see how the kid does. I wish the best for him. Maybe this is the beginning of an entire new era for the Giants. And this kid's going to be the Giant quarterback for the next 15 years. Let's hope. That's the way to hope if you're a Giant fan. But the process stinks. The process is not good. Marcus Spears will join us at 1:30. He'll break it down for you as well. Let's go to Andrew in Medford. Andrew, start it off.
Yeah, hey, Michael. How are you today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I love picking your brains. I want to talk today. Hey, listen, at the end of your show yesterday, I like when that guy Anthony called, and he called you Mike, so then you called him Tony.
I don't
Listen,
mind
I
being
pick
called
up
Mike.
on that stuff.
I don't
You're
mind being
funny.
called Mike.
Listen, I know. Listen, I love watching you during the games, down to the Yankee games, because it's like the show. And then the show's like you're doing the games. It's like vice versa. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you.
Listen, to answer some of your questions, Dable, I honestly believe, I believe that Jaxson Dart was ready for Game 1. And for some reason, he went with Wilson because they paid $10 million and the experience. It's a real circus going on. I like to use the word you can't use on the air now, S-show, but
Right.
it really
well, you
is.
can use it on College Game Day. You can.
Yeah, College Game Day. But listen, I mean, his winning percentage is .343, Dable. He's 18-35-1. Imagine if Aaron Boone had a .343 winning percentage. He'd be gone. And listen, I know Boone's doing the right thing, and I heard what you talked about yesterday with the Yankees. It's so true. The Yankees are the only team in the tri-state area that gives you a winning chance every year, and all the other teams cannot.
Well,
So,
I'll tell you what.
imagine
Here's the deal, Andrew. If he's doing this to save his job, right? If he's doing it to save his job, that's the wrong reason to do it. If he's doing it because he truly believes that Dart is ready, that's great. But I do wonder, why wasn't he ready 3 weeks ago? He learned that much in 3 weeks. He didn't learn anything on the field because all they had was hand the ball off. He didn't throw the ball. I'll tell you this, I'll be locked into the game on Sunday. I can't wait to see how the kid plays. But there are ways to evaluate moves and why you make the moves. Why'd they make this move now? Public pressure? Radio station chatter? Owner? What? Why? And the only way he saves his job is if the kid plays well. Because if the kid doesn't play well, then all bets are off. He's going to get fired, and then the kid might not even be in the plans of the new coach. And if they fire the GM, he might certainly not be in the plans. Let's go to Denise on the Long Island Expressway. Denise.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Denise.
Listen, as a GM, why am I drafting people who are not ready to play in the NFL? I don't understand that.
Well, you do that with quarterbacks, and the fact that he was the 25th pick in the first round, Denise, tells you that he was not a ready-made product. He's just not. Otherwise, he would have been picked earlier in the first round. I mean, I keep hearing people say this guy's really good. Well, if he was really, really good coming out of Ole Miss, right, then they would have picked him in the first 5 picks. This is a league that's desperate for quarterbacks. So obviously not everybody saw what Brian Dable saw. Maybe he is ready. But you do pick people, especially quarterbacks, that are projects. Little secret, everybody. Patrick Mahomes did not start for the first 15 games of the year when he was a rookie. No, they had a reason. They had a really good quarterback in Alex Smith. Lamar Jackson didn't start for a long time because they had Joe Flacco. Now, you spent $10.5 million on Russell Wilson to give yourself that leeway not to have to start him right away. So you either A, totally misread what Russell Wilson has left, or B, you're a bad coach. Neither one of them's good. And I think the biggest neophyte out there, someone who doesn't have a degree in football jargon, watch Russell Wilson last year with the Steelers, last 5 games where they crawled into the playoffs. He couldn't get the team into the end zone in the red zone. He could not score touchdowns. And the Giants said, yes, that's what we need. That's what we need. Dennis in Center Reach. Dennis. Hello, Dennis.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, Michael. I love you, babe, but you're being Mr. Hot Take right now. So just a couple points. So remember when Daniel Jones was drafted? They started Eli Manning. Eli Manning, who could make the Hall of Fame, probably the greatest Giants quarterback ever. They benched him after 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So they brought Daniel Jones in week 3 on the road in Tampa Bay, a Tampa Bay team that went on to win the Super Bowl the next year, of course with a different quarterback, but it was, a really good team. And Daniel Jones played well that year. And if you look back, that's one of the best games he played. So the Chargers, Khalil Mack broke his arm. I think the defense, it's a really good defense, but I think it's a good starting spot for Dart. And with Russell Wilson, Remember, he was the third choice. You brought up Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson, he makes $10 million a year. They signed him before the draft, so they had no idea that they were going to get Jaxson Dart. Right. If they didn't sign Russell Wilson, they'd be going in with Jameis Winston and who knows, Tyler Shuck or Shador Sanders. It could have been much worse. So, I think Dable is thinking, and Shane, they're thinking $10 million. That's less than what Daniel Jones makes. That's less than what Aaron Rodgers makes. So, yeah, now it's a waste of money. But it's backup money, right? That's what Josh McCown made for the Jets a couple of years ago. So I think while it's not a great look, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a bleep show. I think it's a smart thing to do. I think they gave Dart an experience to watch some really good teams, the Cowboys, the offense, Chiefs defense was really good. So it gave him some experience. I like, sitting the first couple weeks. I think it's beneficial. So I think Dable, they're going to be very more outgoing with the offense. I know you said, I hope they draw up more plays. Russell Wilson's terrible, Michael. I'm sorry. He was cut in Denver. He was cut in Pittsburgh.
But you said I was being a hot take guy. So let's talk about this a little bit. Why get him then? If he's that bad, why would you get him? You had Jameis Winston. Is he worse than Jameis Winston, or is he better than Jameis Winston?
This is the thing, Michael, with Jameis Winston. I think Jameis has been around the league, right? He has controversy. He started a couple games for Cleveland last year. I don't think he's a sustainable starting quarterback.
But neither is Russell Wilson, obviously, Dennis.
No, this is what I was being a hot take guy when I said that Russell Wilson's terrible. He's not. I mean, you look at the quarterback play in the NFL, Michael. I mean, there's maybe like 5 or 6.
But Dennis,
really
he was terrible Sunday night. You'd have to admit that.
Oh my God, he was off. But was he not great the week before in Dallas? I mean,
right. But does that performance now, Dennis, look not as impressive after Dallas got slapped around by Caleb Williams and the Bears?
But if Kansas City comes out next week and, slaughters Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson looks terrible, do we look back and say, man, we should have gave Russell Wilson another week? So that's the thing with the NFL. It's week to week. Like I said, it's not a great look for the Giants, but I don't think it's terrible. I like Dable as a head coach. I thought he did some good things with Daniel Jones. Yeah, that's the thing. So I hate when people say they need to fire him. He's not a good coach. So I think with Dart, I think Dable's like, you know what? I gave it a shot. Let me throw all my chips in right now. So I'm looking forward. I'm a Jets fan, by the way. But I'm going to be watching this Giants game. I'm going to be supporting Dave. I'm going to be supporting Dart. And it's only good for New York sports. We should be wishing that Dart turns out to be a great quarterback, right? So
I don't know if you heard yesterday's show, and we'll revisit this, Dennis. New York sports is just it's a train wreck, except for the Yankees. It's a train wreck. Every single year, it's a train wreck. I'm not going to go over and over again what I said yesterday, but bottom line is this: what each team gives you is trash, other than the Yankees. Trash. Nobody gives you the consistent ability, if you're a fan of theirs, to think you have a chance to win a championship except for the Yankees. Giants don't, Jets don't, Knicks don't, Rangers don't, Islanders don't, Devils don't, and the Mets don't. I'm saying consistent. Mets 101 wins, fire the manager. Mets go to the 6th game of the NLCS. This year they're struggling to get in as a third wild card. Yankees, every single year you could dream on them. Every one. There's not a year since 1995 that you went into the season thinking they have no chance. Every other New York team, obviously you feel that way. And I'm telling you, you should root that way. You should root that Jaxson Dart does great. And I've said this before, I'm a Dable fan. I think there's something there. But when does the guru start guruing? Where is this imaginative offense? Where is this offensive genius? I don't see it. I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. And that's a little scary. A little scary, everybody. Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7:05 p.m., Yankees host the White Sox at the stadium in the Bronx. That game will be on Yes. At 7:40, the Mets are playing for their playoff lives. They're in Chicago to play the Cubs. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on 880 ESPN. Both teams were off yesterday. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. All right, we'll come back. I can't wait to hear what Marcus Spears thinks about this. He's with us every Tuesday at 1:30. What a perfect time to have him on to talk about this move to Jaxson Dart as the starting quarterback. It's the K Show, going till 3, right here on 880 ESPN.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play.
Well, to hit a home run, everything's got to line up perfectly, just like when you find the person you want to marry. When it's time to propose, well, do what I did. Visit the engagement experts at London Jewelers. From their beautiful 2 by London collection to custom designs for any budget, they make finding the perfect ring easy. Visit London Jewelers at any of their 6 locations and tell them I sent you for the Michael K. treatment. London Jewelers, getting it just right.
Hey Yankees fans, hit your next adventure out of the park and onto the water with City Cruises New York. Sail your way to epic skyline views, delicious dining, and premium drinks. Upgrade your game day with a dining cruise, a cocktail sail, or a night with your favorite entertainers aboard City Cruises Live. Whether you're celebrating a win or just the weekend, City Cruises is a shipload of fun. Proud partner of the New York Yankees. Book today at citycruises.com/New York.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 25 Mazda CX-30 for $199 for 33 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. Then SM843629. MSRP $26,865. Zero security deposit. Ends 9/30/25.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
Why do you go to Princeton Longevity Center?
We go to Princeton Longevity Center because my husband's cardiologist told him having this exam saved his life.
Because somehow 20 turned into 40, and now I need to take my health more seriously. The Princeton Longevity Center designed a program to keep me healthy and active, so 50 and 60 will be no sweat.
Because even though my cholesterol is high, it turned out my arteries are clear. That's a big relief.
Whether you want to make the most of your future years or just want peace of mind, you need the Princeton Longevity Center. Their comprehensive preventive exam combines the latest technology with caring experts to create your personal plan for staying well.
Because I shouldn't have to wait an hour for a 10-minute physical. I go to Princeton Longevity Center because I get everything done in one day and take my results home with me.
Find out why you need Princeton Longevity. Call 888-8000-PLC or go to PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. Call 888-8000-PLC. That's 888-8000-PLC.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible, overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Welcome back to the Michael K. Show. So the news right before we went on the air, reported by our very own Adam Schefter, is that the Giants are going to Jaxson Dart, and Russell Wilson will go to the bench. And I said, what a perfect day for us to have Marcus Spears on with us, and he joins us now. Marcus, how you doing?
Mike, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, before I ask you about Jaxson Dart, I was told I had to tell you this one thing. Joe Girardi, my partner on the Yes Network, former Yankee manager, said, please tell Marcus Spears he is my favorite person on all of ESPN. He loves you.
Brother, that's big time. Tell Joe I appreciate him. Hopefully I get to meet him one day, man.
Well, we'll make that happen for sure. All right, so your thoughts on the Giants going to Dart now. Is this a panic move? Is this the right move?
No, I think it's the right move, Mike. Listen, I actually talked about Dart starting week 1, just to begin that new chapter. In New York, you drafted the kids in order to be the future of your franchise. And I get it. Like, this is a process. You want to wait. You want to wait till you, as a staff, feel comfortable enough for him to be the starting quarterback. But I don't think this is an impulse move. There's nowhere to go. You're 0-3. You got an opportunity to see what you got in the young fella. And we all know how this clock works. If the quarterback is good and he shows promise, you start filtering through the rest of your team and trying to get better all around him. And this speeds up that process and gives you an opportunity to do that. And also evaluate the people that he works well with as well that'll be there as long as he's the quarterback.
Isn't it a bad look, though, because you said, and you said it on the show, that you thought he should start week 1. It took 3 weeks for him to get comfortable. 3 weeks, Marcus, he all of a sudden is ready? I mean, is this more giving up on Russell Wilson than going to Jaxson Dart?
Mike, that's a great question. And those are the type of questions that I think you have to answer if you're Daboll, if you're the organization. I look at it from the outside as saying we have all of these discussions all the time about when is the right time to start the guy. We look for weeks. Well, this opponent may be a great opportunity to get the young rookie in who you drafted, who's inevitably going to be your starter at some point because you have to see what he has. And Russ, obviously, this last performance helps that. It helps put that along. It helps move that faster. But I don't think it's necessarily Jaxson Dart taking 3 weeks to grasp and understand what they want to do offensively. They just, as a staff and probably an organization, were like, look, we had a first-round quarterback here that we weren't able to develop. We weren't able to put in a position to be successful, who's having success in Indianapolis now. And I don't know whatever that thought process was as far as starting Jaxson Dart, whether week 1 or now that we at week 4. But I ultimately believe that it's about him being ready and also understanding that Russ's ceiling is the ceiling that you're going to get majority of the season.
Do you believe, Marcus, that a young quarterback, let's say he goes out against the Chargers and gets embarrassed, and the Chargers are a really good team, can that set a young quarterback back? Could you really hurt a guy if you put him in before he's ready?
Depends on his makeup, Mike. Like, all of these guys are different. All of these guys have something in them that makes them different. If they're highly competitive and they have a sense of wanting to prepare, then those guys are the ones that, one, you want at the helm of your organization, but also to make sure that they're ready to handle everything that comes along with this. And, Mike, let's not kid ourselves. It's different when you play quarterback in New York with the Giants, right? Whether you go through adversity or not. There was time Eli was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and there were times where people wanted him out of the stadium. So it comes with the job, especially playing there. So I think his mental makeup, and that's all the things you go through in the draft process. But you don't know that until these guys start playing and performing, and they go through the peaks and valleys of playing the position, which is inevitable for every young quarterback. But if he shows promise, if he shows things that you believed about him in the draft, if he shows things that you believed about him in the preseason, that is where you make your evaluation, because a lot of what's around these guys matter early in their careers. And I think that's going to be important for Jaxson Dart. But if he has a great rapport with Malik Neighbors, and you see this offense get a little bit more electricity, you see his athleticism start to help this offensive line out, you see this offense kind of becoming a little bit more explosive in the way that not only the fans want to see, but the coaching staff. I think those are the things we should be looking for, not for him to go out and throw 3 touchdowns and 300 yards and win the game. You look for those incremental steps of a young quarterback trying to become the starter and hopefully somebody you can win with. Shoot, Caleb Williams is in his second year, and we see progressions being made because he has a head coach in Ben Johnson and an organization that's allowing him to go through these processes. And you're starting to see some promise. You're starting to see some maturation. You're starting to see some productivity from him. And I think that's the track that these young guys need to be on. Now, do you get the explosive ones like a Jaden Daniels in his first year or a C.J. Stroud in his first year? Those happen, but they're few and far in between. The Joe Burrows, those are few and far in between. And I'm not saying Jaxson Dart is any of those guys. But, Mike, you got to see if he is. And I think that's why this is a great decision for them. And I actually believe that week 1, he would have been ready to play coming from Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin.
Talking with Marcus Spears on the Michael K. Show, his weekly segment on the show. Would it bother you, Marcus, if you found out that this move was made so Dable's trying to save his backside rather than Dart being ready?
Yeah, I don't believe in throwing a kid in there if he's not ready. Right. And, again, the game will tell us that as well. Is he getting in and out of the huddle? Those are the type of things that you look for. Is he operating the team? Is it a level of promise that you're seeing? Because that'll tell you if he's ready. Making mistakes, throwing an interception, having some bad series, no. That won't tell you if Dabo is trying to save his hide. But if he's not ready and prepared situationally, if he's not running and playing within the structure of the offense, if he can't get in and out of the huddle and make checks at the line of scrimmage, those are the type of things that tell you, yeah, they rushed him, and then we could put that onus on Brian Dabo. I don't believe Brian to be that guy. I think if that was the case, he would have started in week 1 and just shot for the fences. So, again, I believe that it's more about what Russ has done and what Jaxson Dart has probably showed them up until this point. And, Mike, we have to remember, brother, this was inevitable. Unless Russell Wilson was turning back the clock to be in Seattle and the guy that he was, this was inevitable all along. I'm glad we have it to talk about, but Jaxson Dart at some point was going to start this season.
Here's another question, though. I mean, anybody who watched Russell Wilson the last 5-6 games with the Steelers realized he's not the quarterback that he was in Seattle. Why even ride with him? Why was the choice to ride with him? I'm not saying Jameis Winston is a perfect quarterback. You know, the 30 interception year, I understand that. But everybody saw that Russell Wilson couldn't get the ball in the end zone with the Steelers. Why did they go with him? I know he was not their first choice, but why go with him at all if he only lasted 3 games?
Because, Mike, this league has always been about looking at guys that have had a tremendous amount of success, especially in this part of their careers, and hoping that you can reignite some of that. And the Dallas game did some of that, right? The Dallas game made people believe that, oh, Russ still got it in him. He got the moon ball. He made some plays. Granted, that was against probably the worst defense in the NFL at this point of the season. But it also is about comfortability sometimes. It's about knowing that this veteran has been in games, played a lot of games under his belt. And hopefully you can get what I talked about with Dart. You can get organization. You can get him to make some plays. You can get him to suffice until you want to get the young guy in there. I just don't want people to act shocked. And I'm not saying you are, Mike, but they brought Russell Wilson in and they brought Jameis Winston in to be bridge quarterbacks, to have quarterbacks in a veteran room and guys that have played before to hold it down until they felt like Jaxson Dart was ready. So it kind of harkens back to your last question. Go ahead.
Did we think the bridge was going to be that short, though, Marcus? A 3-game bridge? I mean, when Kurt Warner was the bridge to Eli, that was 9 games. This is 3 games.
Mike, Mike, but you're 0-3.
Right.
So like, where do you go from here? Do you do it at 0-4 or 0-6? Like, you're at a point now where the season has played out the way. I don't believe the move would have been made if they would have beat Dallas. I don't believe that would have been the move would have been made at this point. Now, the performance was awful the week after that against the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't know if that move is made if you beat Dallas and you're sitting there at 1-2 and hoping that you can get something out of Russ and kind of recreate what he was able to do a week prior to Kansas City. So you at 0-3. You got a young quarterback that you drafted high in the draft. You got a coach in Brian Daboll who maybe feels like what I want to do, Jaxson Dart lends himself to that better now that he's more equipped and he's seen the game being played. He's seen what a preparation is like for a game. He's been in practices where you prepare to play games. And that's the difference in the preseason. That's the difference in not knowing if a guy is ready, because preparation in this league is everything. And you can learn a lot, especially from young quarterbacks, about how they go about a week of preparation getting ready for a game. So they've been able to actually evaluate that in real time and see if Jaxson Dart is not only handling all the material, but if he's going about it the right way. And those are the things that we don't get to see on camera. We don't get to see them and how he practices every day in situations. We don't get to see that. So I have to believe that it was a comfortability built through these first 3 weeks of how he's going about the job, because I also have to believe that they prepared him like a starter. You don't throw him in this situation if he hadn't had reps, if he hadn't really prepared to play in games for full games. I just have to believe that staff has been doing that for the first 3 weeks, even though Russell Wilson has been starting. So now is the time.
All right, here's the final thing, and this is the thing that concerns me the most. I'm watching Sunday night, and the offense, Marcus, has no imagination. There's no ingenuity, and we were sold that Brian Daboll was an offensive guru. Well, he didn't guru with Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones now 3-0 with staying striking, and now with Russell Wilson, the calls were not. I mean, they couldn't get the ball in Malik Neighbors, 2 catches, 13 yards. Is he as smart as we were led to believe?
I think Brian is a really good offensive coach. I think he is limited in what he has the ability to do. And we will see what it's like with Jaxson Dart. This is his first opportunity to develop a quarterback from scratch. Now, if he's going to be there, I don't know, if you want to move forward. But when you do have, and this is what happens in the NFL, Mike, you have these sample sizes and you have these coaches that do tremendous jobs developing quarterbacks. Kevin O'Connell revamped Sam Darnold's career. We see what's happening with Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones right now. We know what Kyle Shanahan has done with Brock Purdy, and now we see what he's doing with Mac Jones and that team having success offensively. There are all of these examples of guys that have literally developed quarterbacks or made them better players. This is your first time you're going to get to see if Brian Daboll can do that with a young rookie quarterback that he's starting from scratch from. Daniel Jones already had a lot of habits that were already formed, so that's a tear down and build up. And I'm not sure if he could do that, but this will be his litmus test on if he's going to continue to be the head coach in New York. If it goes bad, they're going to make a change.
But in your gut, you feel that he is a good offensive mind.
I do. I've seen him have a tremendous amount of success. Now, in New York, it hasn't been, and that is reality. And I think this is the last shot for him and Joe Shane, to be honest with you.
Right. Marcus, great stuff. Thank you so much.
Always, brother. Take care, man.
You be good. That is Marcus Spears. Every Tuesday he gives us this information at 1:30. I love having him on. Hey, FanDuel is getting you ready for kickoff with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You could build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. Visit FanDuel.com/K to download the FanDuel app today and get started. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First time on real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Game time isn't just on the field. It's in your driveway, too. At Kia City of the Bronx, they're making plays with the full lineup of brand new Kias ready for you at 3505 Connor Street. Don't sit on the sidelines while your dream car drives by. Visit KiaCity.com or call 646-917-7955 and they'll get you behind the wheel of something fresh. Kia City of the Bronx. This is how the Bronx drives.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. We all turn to some funny places for support, but not everyone is a therapist. Not everyone is the one. Find your right match with BetterHelp. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and their 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. If you aren't happy with your match, switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recs. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/timeout. That's betterhelp.com/timeout.
My dad is bringing home the best birthday cake ever!
It was my 5th birthday, and my dad was bringing home the cake.
Should have been here a half hour ago.
The cake never made it, and neither did my dad. That was the day a drunk driver killed my dad.
Daddy?
Impaired drivers take lives. Think.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. Aired in cooperation with the New York State Broadcasters Association.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Did you know you can get more with New York Lottery Plus?
You pulling my leg?
No, seriously. Just enter scratch off and draw game tickets and get more points.
Pulling a fast one?
No. And you can put your points towards chances to win gift cards, cash prizes, and more.
Is this a stunt?
No, you even get points for playing new games.
You're pulling my chain, aren't you?
No.
Pulling my finger?
What? No, man, put that thing away.
Sorry.
Introducing New York Lottery Plus. Download the app, sign up, get more. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
Things today can seem kind of unpredictable. Who knows what's around the corner, right? Well, at Total Wireless, we want to give you something to be sure about. With us, you save 50% off Metro and Cricket when you switch with one line. Guaranteed. And you get to keep the phone and number you love. Visit our Total Wireless store today. 50% savings for unlimited plans versus comparable Total Wireless unlimited phone plans based on standard plan rates. Some customers may only receive the guaranteed savings after contacting us and validating the current plan rate. Excludes promotional, discounted, and bring your phone rates. For total 5G unlimited plan or higher, auto pay required. Applied on next renewal date. Additional terms apply.
Coach Saban here. On the field or on your walls, coverage matters. That's why I go with Behr Marquee Interior Paint and Primer from the Home Depot.
Exceptional hide, advanced stain blocking, and over 1,000 colors to choose from. Behr Marquee delivers one-coat coverage that stands up to real life. One-coat coverage, no overtime. Behr Marquee, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid only when tinted to colors from the Behr Marquee Interior One-Coat Hide Collection.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. Is it the driver behind the wheel? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. That's 562-314-4603.
The ESPN New York Couchcast is coming, and things are heating up.
We genuinely really get along with each other.
I don't even think Peter watches sports.
You could make the argument that Rick doesn't get enough credit for being a low-key fraud.
Carlin's going to be at this Couchcast, too, so we got to make sure we have a lot of cannolis.
The ESPN New York Couchcast is Monday night, September 29th. See it all unfold on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Brought to you by the All-American Ford Auto Group, Calandra's Bakery, and Jacob's Pickles.
Wow, I think I should be getting ready for Nets basketball. Hey, the Ryder Cup is in New York, and Midtown Manhattan will become golf's biggest stage. Ryder Cup Live at Rockefeller Center transforms the heart of New York City into an epic fan zone during every round. Fans can also see me and the Michael K. Show broadcast live this Thursday, September 25th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. That's right. Don't miss the Michael K. Show at Ryder Cup Live in Rockefeller Center. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra. No matter what you're playing for, make it superior with Michelob Ultra. That's 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, a superior taste worth playing for. Official beer sponsor of the Ryder Cup. I think I opened the show saying it was September 25th. It's September 23rd. I apologize. I don't want to rush the world. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Vinny in Staten Island. Vinny.
What's up, Michael? How are you?
I'm good, Vinny. How are you?
All right, pal. I seen you last at the Beach Bash down in Belmont.
Awesome.
They're throwing Jaxson Dart to the Wolves. Dable's just a selfish guy. He only cares about himself. All he does is blame his players for everything. Blame Daniel Jones for everything. These guys got to go. I mean, when are they going to get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau? The guys are horrible. Useless against the run. One tackle all last week. I mean, where is the other guy? You have 5 and 7 they drafted. Evan Neal. He's a third stringer. I mean, these guys draft. Abdul Carter was invisible the other day. These guys are they're terrible. They have to go. Well, Jaxson Dart. What's going to happen to Jaxson Dart? He's going to get beat up, and the fans are going to turn on him, just like what happens to every New York quarterback. It's a shame.
But that's not going to save Dable's job. That's going to cost him his job. So that doesn't make sense that they're throwing him out there to be unsuccessful. They think there's a chance that he can be successful, because if he's unsuccessful, Dable's gone. And I mean, are you going to give up on Abdul Carter after 3 weeks? The guy's not even playing every single down. As for Kayvon Thibodeau, I thought he pursued Mahomes at the end of the game and actually got to him right after the throw was made. So, I mean, you don't give up on guys at this point. But I will tell you, your record is what you are. And, you know, the Evan Neal pick is an awful pick for Joe Shane. It's an awful pick. You can't pick a guy that high in the first round and have him fail that spectacularly. You just can't. Now, we'll see what Abdul Carter is going to be. I'm certainly not going to give up on him. That's a work in progress. He's a seminal talent. And, you know, in terms of a coach being selfish, yeah, everybody wants to succeed. I'm sure he's trying to succeed. But, yeah, this crowd, that's the danger of starting Jaxson Dart too early. Of all the things you said, the one thing that strikes me as true, you cannot throw a guy out there who's not ready because he's going to get booed off the field. And then right now he's the flavor of the month. The back page of the post was Jaxson Start. So everybody wants him. That's always the most popular guy in the world is the backup quarterback. Just the way it is. Always the most popular guy in the world. Then when he becomes the starting quarterback, then he's judged the same way that starting quarterbacks are judged. That's why Tommy DeVito was so beloved. Not the starting quarterback. Something else. Now, Jaxson Dart is in a situation where he has to produce. It's no longer a dream. You're no longer wishing for something to happen. He's the promise of better days. He's now present day, and he's got to perform. And if he doesn't perform, it's the end for sure of Brian Dable's New York Giant head coaching career. If he's awful for the final 14 games of the season, there's no way that Dable comes back. First of all, they'll have another bad record. Second of all, the guy that he pressed the GM to trade up into the first round to get failed. He's gone. He knows it. So the clock starts ticking on Sunday. That's the way it is. The clock starts ticking on Sunday. Alan in Morristown. Alan. Hey, Alan. 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 Wow. That's really sad. That makes me unhappy. Lawrence in Milburn. Lawrence.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
I'm a first-time, long-time, really enjoy the show. You do a great job. I had two quick Mets questions. I'm a long-time Mets fan. I go back to 69 with the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, just doing the math here, it looks to me like they got to win, realistically, we don't know, 5 games through Sunday. And secondly, do you think that considering, I mean, I know Stearns is a really smart guy. Look what he did in Milwaukee. But do you think they're going to pivot and have to pivot next year and pay for some frontline pitching? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. It's hard to predict. I understand what he feels about frontline pitching, that they're eventually going to break down and they eat up a lot of salary. But I think there's a value to it. I don't know if he's going to have a come-to-Jesus moment where he goes, you know what, I've got to have a number one starter. And it's not going to be Kodai Senga. It's not going to be Sean Manaea. It's not going to be David Peterson. Now, maybe they can wish on a dream that it's McLean. I don't think you could bet that way next year. But I don't know what number one starter is going to be available. Maybe he makes a deal. Maybe he deals with a team and gets a guy that's in the last year of a contract. Team knows that they're not going to sign him. I think he has to change lanes just a little bit, because I think one of the reasons that this season has gone off the rails is that they don't have the dependable starter. They don't have the guy that's going to give them seven innings every time out. That, in turn, then burned out the bullpen, exposed the weak parts of the bullpen, and that's what you have. But some guys are really stubborn, especially analytic guys. We see Brian Cashman's stubborn. David Stearns might be stubborn too. But the thing that could save him is that Steve Cohen could step in and go, we got to get a number one starter. Forget about the cost. Forget about him getting hurt. We got to get a number one starter. Because the Mets wouldn't even be within the precipice of a playoff spot right now if it wasn't for Steve Cohen stepping in and signing Soto and stepping in and signing Alonso. Those are Steve Cohen moves. Those were not David Stearns' moves. David Stearns did not have, I'm sorry, he did not have a great offseason, and he had a terrible trade deadline. Hey, get ready for a new Monday Night Football experience with the ESPN New York Couchcast when the Jets take on the Dolphins for the Week 4 divisional matchup. Settle in on the couch and join the Altcast with all your favorite ESPN New York personalities for instant reactions, unfiltered commentary, and behind-the-mic banter. Stream live on our YouTube page from kickoff to the final whistle. Grab your snacks and watch the game with the pros. It's the ESPN New York Couchcast, presented by Calandra's Bakery, Jacob's Pickles. I am going to eat so much at this Couchcast. Calandra's Bakery, their food is so great. The cakes, Jacob's Pickles, the chicken sandwich is amazing. And driven by the All-American Ford Auto Group, your giant Ford Auto Group with giant savings and a giant selection. Monday, it's Monday. All of it happens Monday, September 29th, starting at 7 p.m. on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. All right, when we come back, we'll talk some baseball, the final week of the regular season, what the Mets have to do. Is it 5-1? Can 4-2 do it? We will find out, and we'll break it down for you. Want to hear from you as well. And the Yankees start a series against the White Sox as they have an outside chance of catching the American League East. What do they have to do? Again, we'll break it down for the people. All right here on 880 ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org. Why watch alone when you can join the crowd? Ryder Cup Live is taking over New York's favorite bars and pubs with official watch parties all weekend long. From upscale lounges to classic Irish pubs, you'll catch every swing and putt in a club-level atmosphere surrounded by fellow fans. Cheer, toast, and rally behind your team at the hottest Ryder Cup watch spots across Manhattan. Ryder Cup Live, because the best games are watched together. To learn more, visit RyderCup.com.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team.
Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football. 880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recover from and made it like it never even happened. Like on September 24, 2016, when Tulsa found themselves down 31-0 to Fresno State with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. Tulsa fought back to tie the game at 41. And then won 48-41 in double overtime.
ServPro. Like it never even happened.
Out here, it's football season, where nothing beats backyard grilling, gathering around the fire pit, and cheering on your favorite team with friends. The yard is mowed, the lights are strung, and the grill is warming up. Whether you need to fill up your propane, get a new grill, or even a generator, out here, it's game day. And we're ready for it. Tractor Supply, for life out here.
Back to 2 hours of sports, you know the deal. Going into hour 2, we're going to also incorporate you as the co-host. But I do want to remind everybody, if you have friends that listen to the show, what you have to do is you have to illuminate them. You have to tell them, you know what, you can actually watch the show now again. Because they are simulcasting the show or streaming the show on YouTube. Now, how do you watch it? You go to the ESPN New York app. Click on the app, then the tile that says YouTube. Click on the YouTube tile. Subscribe, and then you could watch any of us at any time during the day. Seriously. Right now, I'm looking right at the camera. I have a nice brown sport coat on, a striped shirt. I'm not putting the tie on yet. I'll put that on for the game tonight. And I've got a center stage placard behind me. A picture of me as a 9-year-old. That one is over my right shoulder. Picture of Derek Jeter sliding. That's over my head. Picture of Mickey Mantle on my left. Picture of my kids also on my... I mean, there's so much stuff to absorb. So get to the YouTube channel and check it out. So not only do you hear this annoying, scratchy voice, but you get to see this ugly, freakishly long head. That's fun, especially with Halloween approaching. Imagine going as me for Halloween. Just a freakishly long head, almost like a Mr. Ed, but you could call it Mr. Head. Anyway, Jeff Passan is reporting that Major League Baseball will, in fact, implement a challenge system for home plate calls next year. So it's going to happen. We saw it in spring training. It was rumored that it was going to happen in 2026. Then there was some talk, well, maybe they hold off until the new basic agreement. They are not holding off. Now, I do have a little bit of an issue, and here's my issue. There's only 2 challenges, 2 per team. Now, you get another challenge if you challenge and you're correct. I think 2 is too few. It takes so short a period of time to check it out. I wouldn't even mind if it was 4. But 2, I mean, so if there's a blatantly bad call in the first inning, you're not going to challenge that in the fear that it won't be overturned and then you lost a challenge. And, you know, for all the things that a manager has on his plate, he's going to have to tell certain players, you don't challenge. Because some guys always think they're safe. Some guys always think it's a ball. You have to know who those guys are, and then you have to take the challenge out of their hand. So there's only 3 people that could challenge: the batter, the catcher, and the pitcher. John Smoltz has been on with us, a Hall of Famer, and he told me straight out a pitcher should never challenge. They're the worst judge of whether something's a strike. First of all, most of them don't follow through direct to home plate. They have no idea where the ball headed or ended up. They shouldn't challenge. It should be the catcher and the batter. I think it's going to be fascinating. And also, it gives you an opportunity to get out from under awful calls. And we've seen awful calls at home plate. There are bad umpires. Most of them are great, but there are some bad home plate umpires. And those are the guys that you are going to have to judiciously use your challenge. It's got to be in a big moment, and it's got to be something that's egregiously a bad call. Anyway, the point is, starting next year, opening day, when the Yankees are in San Francisco to meet the Giants, they will have the challenge system in play. So there you have it. All right, so the Mets tonight start a 3-game series against the Cubs. So we know where the Mets are right now. They're out. They're on the outside looking in at a playoff spot. And when you look at the numbers, they just jump out at you, and you can't even believe that this has happened to a New York Met team with a $340 million payroll. After the games of June 12th, the Mets were 45-24. Best record in baseball. Since the games of June 13th, they are 33-52. Think about that. They're 33-52, the 27th worst record in Major League Baseball. So now the Mets will start a 6-game road trip, playing for their playoff lives. The Mets on the road are 31-44, which is dreadful. Dreadful. I know they've played great at Citi Field. You can't play that badly on the road. And now they've got to save their season on the road. So they have the same record right now as the Cincinnati Reds. But the Reds have the tiebreaker over the Mets in their head-to-head. So that means the Reds are in with the 3rd wild card. The Mets are out. So how many games of the 6 do the Mets have to win? Well, obviously, this is just a guessing game because we don't know how the Reds are going to do. The Reds start a 3-game series against the Pirates tonight. And tomorrow, they're going to face Paul Skeens. So the Pirates are terrible. Paul Skeens might win the Cy Young Award. But the Reds are not taking Paul Skeens and saying, okay, that's going to be a loss, because the Reds are sending Hunter Green out against Paul Skeens. And Hunter Green is great and just won a game 1-0 over the Cubs and pitched a 1-hitter. So the Reds play the Pirates for 3, and then the Reds play Milwaukee for 3. So by that time, Milwaukee will have clinched everything they want to clinch. They want to clinch best record over the Phillies. That's important, and they could do that. It's very, very doable. It's very, very in a game or so. So they could have everything clinched by the time the Reds play them this weekend. That would be bad news for the Mets. The Reds have won 10 of 16, which is not great. 10-6 is not like outstanding. Not terrible, but not outstanding. And while the Reds have won 10 of 16, you know why they've gained ground? Because the Mets have dropped 11 of 16. Now, despite all of this nonsense, Fangraphs, you know what the odds are for the Mets to make the playoffs? 51.9%. Now, I'm not quite sure why they're that high. Why would they be that high when the Mets now are out and the Reds are in, and the Mets have 3 games against the Cubs and then 3 games against Miami? Now, here's your hope with the 3 games against the Cubs. The Cubs just got swept a 4-game series by the Reds. The Cubs have very little to play for. Now, they want to hold off the San Diego Padres, so it does necessitate them winning a couple of games. Because the Padres are in the second wild card, the Cubs are in the first, so the Padres will play the Cubs in the first wild card series, but the Cubs want that series at Wrigley Field, not at Petco Park. So that's something to think of. Now, in terms of Miami, Miami's not good. Well, you know what? They're good enough to have beaten the Mets 3 out of 4 at Citi Field, where everything turned very serious in a heartbeat. And I don't know if you realize this, everybody, the Miami Marlins have won 6 straight and 10 of 11. And I'm sure Met fans do realize this, the Mets got knocked out in both 2007 and 2008 by the Marlins. Now, none of these players are on the team, but they're going to be asked about it. It's like when the Red Sox are always asked about the curse of the Bambino. They weren't on those teams, but all of a sudden, ownership of that problem became theirs. So I would think out of the 6 games that the Mets have remaining, at minimum, I think they have to win 4 of 6. Now, Mike Vicar, a guy I really respect in the New York Post, said he thinks they have to win 5 of 6. Well, you tell me if you feel good if you're a Met fan that they're going to win 5 of 6. When's the last time they won 5 of 6? I think they've done it once. They've done it once since July. Won 5 of 6 games since the end of July. So pitching matchup tonight, David Peterson against Cade Horton. Peterson has been very disappointing of late. Comes in with a 9-6 record, 3.98. Cade Horton has had a good year for the Cubs, 11-4, 2.66. That's not great. Tomorrow, Jonah Tong against Matthew Boyd. Thursday, Sprout against Imanaga. So once again, the Mets, in their hour of need, are going to children in 2 of the 3 games. And the one veteran that's pitching, David Peterson, has been dreadful. But I'm going to surprise you, everybody. You're going to be a little bit surprised. I think the Mets will make the playoffs because I still don't believe in the Reds. I think that when push comes to shove, the Reds will stub their toe. They're not a good enough team. Can they take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates? Yes, they can. Can they take 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee? A Milwaukee team that has nothing to play for except for let's not get hurt before we start the postseason? Yes, they can. So that will make them 4-2 if they could do that. Can the Mets go 4-2 in the 6 games against the Cubs and Miami? Of course they could. Can they go 5-1? Well, that's where you lose me a little bit. Because when have they gone 5-1? When have they gone 5-1 against even the lowest of competition? They just lost 4 out of 6 to the Nationals in games that they had to win. And I wonder if there's a segment of the baseball population that wants the Mets to do poorly. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, and you're not going to like hearing it. The Mets' antics when they win a game, they're over the top. And that really bothers opposing teams. And I think that's what got them in 07 and 03 and 08 as well. Remember Jose Reyes dancing on third base? The Marlins saw all that. And they took great glee in eliminating the Mets. Great glee. Now, the Saturday game, they beat up on Glavine after they were celebrating on Friday. The Mets break an 8-game losing streak, and Alonso hits the walk-off home run, and they act like they win the World Series. Now, I'm not saying that players shouldn't celebrate, but it's over-the-top stuff all the time. Every time they win a game, we're going to win the World Series. They don't act like they've been there before. And maybe they haven't. But this is a team that did get to Game 6 in the NLCS last year, so they should have some kind of decorum where they realize, you know what? We're good enough. We should be able to do this. But are they? Are they good enough? Can we say a team is underperforming when for over half the season, not under half, over 85 games, they are 33-52. They're 19 games over 500, over 50% of the season. And now we expect them to suddenly step up and show in the biggest week of the year. I don't know if the fans feel the pressure more or the players do. Because if I'm the players, I would be feeling some pressure. Because it would be unprecedented for them after making Game 6 of the NLCS, 2 wins away from going to the World Series, to not make the playoffs. Unprecedented. And then if they don't make the playoffs, then we're going to find out why. Because I'm telling you, it's not all on the talent. The talent's good enough to be much better than they are. Good enough to be much better than they are. So is there some internecine nonsense going on that has derailed this season? Do they not respect the manager? Do they not get along in the clubhouse? Is there jealousies? Things like that. One thing that jumped out at me is something that Soto said about Marte, which was a great compliment to Marte, saying that Marte is the real captain of the team. Now, maybe Soto didn't realize what he was saying, but in my dealings with Juan last year, he's a really smart guy. I think he knows what he's saying when he says it. So by saying that Marte is really the captain of the team, is that a snipe or a slap at Francisco Lindor, who everybody says is the captain, but without the title? I'm just spitballing here, people. I have no idea what's going on. This team should not be struggling the way that it is. Now, if you just want a straight baseball reason, their bullpen stinks and their starting pitching's not good enough. That's the straight reason. But their offense and the way Soto has played for the last 2.5 months, this should not be a team that's struggling to score runs in big spots. They should not be held down by a Washington National team that is absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. This could be one of the most significant weeks in the history of the New York Mets organization. And you wonder, if they come up flat and they don't make the playoffs, will there be seismic reaction to it? I think the fans will be dumbfounded. Dumbfounded. I think the players, who really have a very high opinion of themselves, and you should, they're going to be shocked. I think Steve Cohen is going to be red hot. Wait a minute. I spent $340 million not to make the playoffs? I could spend $200 million and not make the playoffs and save a lot of money. I think David Stearns is going to be shocked. I hope that Carlos Mendoza is not the fall guy. I hope. That's my hope. But not making the playoffs is a pretty big deal. And somehow, some way, and I can't really articulate it perfectly, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they will persevere and make the playoffs. I think they will somehow reach down into their DNA that got them to Game 6 of the NLCS last year and win enough games to beat out the Reds. They have to win one more game than the Reds. So if the Reds go 4-2, the Mets have to go 5-1. If the Reds go 3-3, the Mets have to go 4-2. Not asking them to go 6-0. Now, they put themselves in the unenviable situation of, if they go 6-0, they still might not make it. Because if the Reds go 6-0, the Reds make it. I don't think either team's going 6-0. I get more of a 4-2 feeling for both of them. But I'm betting that the Reds will stub their toe and the Mets will somehow find it. Now, on the outside looking in, Arizona, They're one game behind the Mets and the Reds. Now, the Reds also hold the tiebreaker against Arizona, but Arizona has a much tougher schedule. Arizona starts 3 games against the Dodgers and then 3 games against the Padres. Arizona is on a 15-8 run. They've won 6 of 8. Let me give you numbers from September 5th. So today's September 23rd. That was 18 days ago. Under 3 weeks. The Mets had a 6-game lead on the Reds. 6 games. And we are here on the Tuesday of the last week of the regular season, and they're on the outside of the playoffs looking in against the Reds. Now, I don't equate everything with payroll, but the Reds have a third of the payroll of the Mets. And the Mets took a team that fell 2 games short of the World Series, and they added Juan Soto, and they might not make the playoffs. Please, within the sound of my voice, make it make sense how this happened. How did we get to this point? Dave in the car. Help me out, Dave.
I'll help you out, Michael. Thanks for having me on. I mean, look, I wanted to pose this question to you, and I wonder if this is how the Mets are handling it. When you bring in players like Lindor, when you bring in players like Soto, you're bringing in stellar young guys in their prime, and aren't you supposed to be paying them to deliver more than what they normally have at their career up to that moment? So people are saying Soto performed, he's got 40-something home runs. No, we didn't pay you for 40-something home runs. You got to give us more than that. You got to give us more RBIs. You have to give us more leadership in the clubhouse. It's not just bringing you in because you're a great player. There are a lot of great players. And I'm a Yankees fan. I grew up behind the stadium. I hope the Yankees are sitting down with Judge saying, you're one of the greatest players to ever step on a baseball field. Well, we got to have you step up in the playoffs. That's part of why we're paying you. Am I wrong for having this objective here? Like,
well,
I think
Dave, I do think you're wrong. You can't expect players to be more than they've been previously. Now, you can expect Aaron Judge to be as good as he's in the regular season. That's not unreasonable. But I can't blame this on Soto because when Soto was struggling, everybody, the Mets had the best record in baseball, so his struggles did not affect the Mets. And since his struggles, he's been one of the best players in baseball. He's given you more than you could have wanted. You can't expect him to be better than he was last year. If he gives you something approximating last year, you know what? He did his job. He's already hit more home runs than he's ever hit in his career. His batting average is a little bit low, but still his on-base percentage is sky high. He's stolen bases, which he's never done before. He has over 30 stolen bases. No. I think that's eminently unfair. This is not on him, man. This is on the pitching, the starters and the relievers. Francisco Lindor gives you a solid season every single year. Sometimes he has slumps, sometimes at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, whatever the case may be. That's his body of work. So you can't expect people to be better than they've ever been before. That's unfair. You're asking them to do something that maybe they're not able to do. Just give me what you've given me before. Soto has given them a great year. Lindor has given them a Lindor year. Alonso's done his job. Now, there are others that haven't done their job. Minaya has not been good. Senga's been awful and injured. David Peterson of late has not been good. This isn't on Soto and Lindor. Sorry. So when you ask me, am I wrong? Yeah, Dave, I believe you're wrong. I don't think that you can ask any more of Lindor and Soto. Let's go to Moose in South Jersey. Moose.
Hey, Michael, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm just on my way home from work here. You know, I listen to you every day on my way home from work, and I hear, a lot of the same things when it comes to the Mets from you, and they have this enormous payroll, and, how make it make sense how they're not making the playoffs. It's very simple. To me, as a huge Mets fan, it's very simple. Most of that enormous payroll was locked up in Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, and Pete Alonso and a couple other guys. And then there's all the pitching that they paid for minimal wage for that everybody's hurt. No Caning. Blackburn was a wash. Manaya's half a season. Senga's a ghost of himself. There's nobody to throw. We got 3 young kids coming out of the minors, just doing the best they can right now. And that's all we've got. Peterson's fallen off. That's it. And Diaz. Diaz is the one saving grace of the bullpen so far, knock on wood, this year.
But Moose, you're saying that losing Griffin Canning has caused this, and not having McGill has caused this? I mean, and you had that much faith in Paul Blackburn to be an important part of – I mean, he's the mop-up guy on the Yankees. So, listen, I agree with you. The pitching is the reason that they're having trouble. But the way the pitching was put together, you're almost inviting trouble. You're going to put all your eggs in the basket of Kodai Senga? When has he ever been consistently great? You made the bet on Minaya after one good year last year, $75 million for 3 years. What made you think that Montas was going to be good and to stay healthy? He's never been consistently great, and he's never been consistently healthy. Those are bets that the front office made. And those pitchers, for the most part, they were part of it when the team was getting off to a great start. Now, Montas started on the IL, so did Minaya. Again, if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. David Stearns, I obviously didn't study the history of these players. And he refused to go out and make a bid on a Max Fried or make a bid on Corbin Burns, who ended up getting hurt. So I understand that was a good move that he didn't do that. And that's one of the reasons he doesn't want to go that deep into a starting pitcher who's a veteran and give him a long-term deal. Get it. But you know what? It does hurt when you have a guy that cannot consistently give you 7 innings. You made a bet on Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes is a 5-inning pitcher. And I don't think that Clay Holmes has been the problem. He's pitching innings he's never pitched in his life. And you knew that was going to happen if you turned him into a starter. He's more than doubled his previous high in innings. And now you're depending on kids to save your season. That's a little unfair. Golf's greatest rivalry tees off at Bethpage Black, and the guys are bringing you all the action, energy, and passion straight from the course. Don't miss DiPietro and Rothenberg this Friday morning, only on ESPN New York. It's brought to you by Michelob Ultra. No matter what you're playing for, make it superior with Michelob Ultra. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, a superior taste worth playing for. The official beer sponsor of the Ryder Cup. We'll come back. We'll talk a little Yankees, and I'll give you a choice that I've made that you probably are not going to agree with as the Yankees move into their final week of the season. It's the K Show until 3 right here on the ESPN New York YouTube channel and ESPN New York app and on 880 ESPN.
Hi, former New York Giant Leonard Marshall here. Please join me at the Alzheimer's Foundation of America Family Fun Day on September 27th. Bring your family to AFA's Barbara Rabinowitz Education and Resource Center in Amityville for a fun-filled day of intergenerational activities in celebration of Grandparents Appreciation Month. Learn more and register at AFA September 27th Family Fun Day by visiting www.afalongisland.org or calling 631-223-4000.
There's a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Get 1.9% financing on a new Mazda 2025 CX-50 or lease for $249 for 33 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely, choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN SN 354688. MSRP $32,945. Zero security deposit. APR $17.48 per 1,000 financed, ends 9/30/25.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
You know so much about who you are. But do you know what makes your body your body? With over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help you know the truth. Because you know you're made of grit, wit, and a good heart. But just how healthy is that heart? You know you're made up of all the places you've called home. You know you're made of your mom's sarcasm. And now you can find out if you have her thyroid too. You know you're made of college all-nighters and 30s early-nighters, but those still don't explain your sleep issues. You know that you're made up of good meals with even better conversation. But are you actually absorbing those nutrients? A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
Did you know you can get more with New York Lottery Plus?
You pulling my leg?
No, seriously. Just enter scratch off and draw game tickets and get more points.
Pulling a fast one?
No. And you can put your points towards chances to win gift cards, cash prizes, and more.
Is this a stunt?
No, you even get points for playing new games.
You're pulling my chain, aren't you?
No.
Pulling my finger?
What? No, man, put that thing away.
Sorry.
Introducing New York Lottery Plus. Download the app, sign up, get more. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
At Garden City Mazda, discover more about what moves you.
Our fall kickoff savings start now. Don't miss out.
Our inventory of new and Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles is unmatched in New York.
Embrace every unexpected turn with the new 2025 Mazda lineup. Refined performance. Spacious interiors to fit your life. Elevate your driving experience.
Garden City Mazda. Exhilaration at every turn, exceptional in every way.
This is Joe Budden. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So I'm here to make sure you don't miss any of the daily fantasy action this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right.
Download the Prize Picks app today and use code PLAYNOW to get $50 in site credits after you play your first $5. That's code PLAYNOW to get $50 in site credits after you play your first $5. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. Is it the driver behind the wheel? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. That's 562-314-4603.
ESPN New York is now live like never before, streaming on YouTube. Your favorite shows, DiPietro and Rothenberg, Bart and Carlin, this show, The Michael K. Show, and Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg with live video every weekday. Watch, chat, and join the conversation only on YouTube. Subscribe to ESPN New York on YouTube today and never, ever, 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 ever miss a moment. Well, we talked about it at the start. The news broke, I'd say about 12:40. Adam Schefter reporting that Jaxson Dart will indeed be the starting quarterback for the Giants. I think it's a little peculiar, the timing. We knew that it was something that was going to happen at some point this year. Most of us thought it was going to be much later than this. And if it was going to be early, it was going to be week 5 against New Orleans. But instead, it's week 4 against the Chargers, who are a very good team, coming at 3-0. Giants are 0-3. And Marcus Spears perhaps let it sink into my thick head. He said, hey, they haven't won a game. Something has to change. But is it changing because Dable's trying to save his job? Or is it changing because Dart's actually ready? And is it changing because Russell Wilson was so bad against Kansas City? Time will tell what he's going to do over the weekend. And I'm going to tell you one thing. And my producer, Ray Dinahan, and I were talking about this, and, you know, it does ring true. If the Mets somehow, some way don't make the playoffs and they lose out on the last day of the season, the entire Met organization has to root for one of two things to happen. Jaxson Dart is actually so bad that that's the big point of conversation, or so great that that's the big point of conversation. If he's just meh, if he's mid, then it's all going to be about the Mets with one of the great disappointments and collapses in Major League history, a $340 million payroll doesn't make the playoffs. A year after they went to Game 6 of the NLCS. Now, if they make it, they don't care what Jaxson Dart does. But if they don't make it, the topic of conversation on Monday is not going to be the Yankees preparing to play for the wild card. It's going to be about the Mets not preparing. The Mets putting their belongings into a baggie and heading home. That'll be the topic of conversation unless Jaxson Dart somehow becomes the narrative because of how good or how bad he was. So, Met fans, if your team doesn't make it, you better root for Jaxson Dart to be unbelievable or unbelievably bad. Otherwise, it's going to be an ugly week for Met fans. Now, with the Yanks, they begin a 3-game series against the White Sox at the stadium tonight. And then after that, the Orioles for the final 3. The Yankees right now are in great shape for the playoffs. They could actually clinch tonight. Because the teams that are playing, the best they could do is 89 wins. So I think there's a scenario where the Yankees could clinch tonight with a win against the White Sox. Luis Gil is on the mound. So what's the likelihood of making up the 2 games against Toronto? Well, first of all, they have to make up 3 games because Toronto holds the tiebreaker. Toronto was 8-5 against the Yankees, and that will come back to haunt the Yankees if they end up tying them with the same record, and Toronto wins the division, and the Yankees will be the wild card. So Toronto's schedule is not easy. Toronto plays Boston starting tonight. Boston needs these games as well because Boston might not make the playoffs. So they're not going to run into a team that's going to roll over and die. And then the final 3 games against Tampa Bay, and Kevin Cash doesn't allow that team to roll over and die. You got the Guardians and the Tigers tonight, which is great. So the Tigers' remaining games, Tigers against the Guardians and then against the Red Sox. Astros against the A's and the Angels. Mariners against Colorado and then the Dodgers. So Boston, I don't think they're going to catch the Yankees. They're 3 games back in the loss column, so I don't think that's going to happen. For the Yankees, I think to beat Toronto, I think they probably have to go 5-1. And I don't think that does it because I don't think Toronto's going 3-3. If Toronto goes 2-4, then they deserve to lose. The Yankees go 5-1, and Toronto goes 2-4, then the Yankees are in. But the Yankees have to gain 3 games. And if they don't, then they'll go in as the first wild card, and they'll take their chance against whatever team is going to finish second. It might not be the Red Sox now. It might not be. Here's the thing that I wanted to tell you guys. I don't know if you agree. And I think most of you within the sound of my voice and looking at my face now on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, I've given this a lot of thought. And I've come up with this. Anthony Volpe is the starting shortstop. Since he's come back after the cortisone shot, he's played quite well, much more steady in the field. And although I like Jose Caballero a lot, and he's a decent shortstop, he's also a thrill a minute. Makes a lot of mistakes. Makes a lot of mistakes on the bases with his aggressiveness. But I love him coming off the bench. I think he makes the Yankees a better team coming off the bench. Instant stolen base. Instant. So if Goldschmidt gets a base hit, boom, you bring in Caballero to steal a base. If Austin Wells gets a base hit, you bring in Caballero to steal a base. He could fill in at any position. Anthony Volpe is not an important player for the Yankees if he's coming off the bench. And Anthony Volpe did show last year that he was a pretty good playoff performer. So please, debate me if you want. I welcome it because it's not something that came easy to me. I just think the Yankees are better with Volpe as a shortstop and Caballero coming off the bench. Caballero starting and Volpe coming off the bench. The bench is weakened dramatically. And then you have to live with the fact that Caballero could make a kind of an aggressive mistake. Anthony Volpe makes mistakes, don't get me wrong. And for about 3 months, he was an automatic out. Swinging the bat better, playing the field with much more assuredness. So Anthony Volpe starts at shortstop for me when the Yankees start the playoffs. We'll see what they go with. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what they go with. Let's see what you're thinking. 1-800-919-3776. And we'll go to Pierre in Putnam. Pierre.
Michael K., my main man.
How you
Always
doing,
a
man?
pleasure whenever I get to check in with you. Doing good. Well,
Good.
not really.
because I'm a New York Met fan, and it's that time of year where we're in full panic mode. Listen,
so what are you feeling?
I think you hit it right on the head. I think you hit it right on the head when you said the pitching is to blame. I think David Stern got a little too cute, thinking his pitching coach was some phenomenal guy who could get anybody and make them a better pitcher. And we needed to invest in one frontline starter. Instead of having 6 or 7 with none of them being an ace, we needed one true ace. If you told me Lindor, Alonso, and Soto would play to their baseball card, I think we're fighting for the NL East. Instead, I'm fighting for my life on the last week of the season. I'll shut up and listen to you, Mike. Always a pleasure.
Well, Pierre, I think you hit it. That's why I kind of laugh when people blame any combination of Soto, Lindor, or Alonso. They're the least of their worries. Blame Vientos for getting off to a bad start. Blame the center field situation. You thought you were good in center field. Nobody from center field could hit. And you got Cedric Mullins. He's been awful. Your defense is terrible. Francisco Alvarez is underachieved. He's played through injuries. But it does come down to the pitching. Their bullpen has been dreadful other than Edwin Diaz. The trades they made at the trade deadline have been awful. And the starting pitching now, it's 3 kids and a prayer. Think about that. 3 kids and a prayer on a $340 million payroll where Steve Cohen probably has to pay over $400 million with Cohen tax penalties. Rob in Connecticut. Rob.
Hey, Michael. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Well, I'm doing fantastic because I've been listening to you for probably about 35 years. It's an honor. Matter of fact, quick story. I'm a retired U.S. Navy, and I chose all my duty stations based on the proximity so I could listen to the Yes Network.
Wow.
So, in essence, the Yes Network is responsible for my success of being a chief petty officer in the U.S. Navy. So, thank you very much. You are.
Well, let me stop you for 1 second and just and thank
Yeah.
you for your service. But please continue. Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm done with that, but thank you. So anyway, do you think this Mets debacle hyperbolic? I mean, is it hyperbolic to say that this might be one of the worst modern-day meltdowns in baseball history?
No, it's not hyperbolic at all. I think it's rational. I think it's one of the, if they don't make the playoffs, it's one of the biggest sports stories of all time. Remember the book by John Harper and Bob Klapisch, in the 90s, the worst team money could buy? That was the Vince Coleman, Brett Saberhagen, Bobby Bonilla team. This would be the worst team money can buy. $340 million of Steve Cohen's hard-earned money? For this, to not make the playoffs? You paid Juan Soto, the biggest contract in North American sports history, to go from the 6th game of the NLCS to not making the playoffs? No, that's not hyperbolic at all. I think it's reasonable. I think it's rational. And I think it's spot on. I've been saying it for about 3 weeks. If this team doesn't make the playoffs, it's one of the biggest sports stories of all time. It's hard to believe. It's hard to grasp. It's hard to digest. And Met fans must be sick to their stomach. And just think about it, too. We talked about this yesterday. If the Mets don't make the playoffs, that means that there's a subsection of Met fans that will not know what to do with themselves during the offseason when they had planned for the entire month of October. And then after the Mets won the World Series, November, December, January, February, and March, sending me memes of Juan Soto smiling and them writing, "He doesn't look sad now, Mike." What will they do if they don't make the playoffs and they can't send that meme? "He doesn't look unhappy now, Mike. Doesn't look so glum now, Mike." They'll be lost. And this isn't to all my Met friends. This is to the subsection of people that took something that I said and then ran with it and extrapolated into something that I didn't say, and they think that that's their hang on the rim moment. How will they ever hang on the rim if the Mets don't make the playoffs and you can't send me that nonsensical trash? How? What are you going to do with your winner if you don't send me, "Oh, it doesn't look that glum now, Mike"? I feel for you. Because I have actually steadied myself to receive that. To receive that kind of love and affirmation of that I'm always on your mind. I'm always on your mind. I'm always on your mind. Tell me that your sweet love hasn't died. Yeah, I'll sing too. I give you so many things in these 2 hours, the fastest 2 hours in sports. And we return, leading you right to Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg in just a moment. You're watching on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, and you're listening on the ESPN New York app, and of course, more conventionally, on 880 ESPN.
Hey Yankees fans, hit your next adventure out of the park and onto the water with City Cruises New York. Sail your way to epic skyline views, delicious dining, and premium drinks. Upgrade your game day with a dining cruise, a cocktail sail, or a night with your favorite entertainers aboard City Cruises Live. Whether you're celebrating a win or just the weekend, City Cruises is a shipload of fun. Proud partner of the New York Yankees. Book today at citycruises.com/New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. We all turn to some funny places for support, but not everyone is a therapist. Not everyone is the one. Find your right match with BetterHelp. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and their 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. If you aren't happy with your match, switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recs. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/timeout. That's betterhelp.com/timeout.
You matter, and so does your well-being. If you're facing tough moments, struggling with anxiety, depression, thoughts of suicide, or substance use, help is here anytime you need it. Call, text, or chat 988 for free confidential support. New Jersey's 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here 24/7 for you or someone you love, with trained counselors who listen and care without judgment. You matter. Remember New Jersey's 988. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Record numbers of residents are getting quality, affordable health insurance through Get Covered New Jersey. If you recently had a major life event such as marriage, pregnancy, or insurance loss, you may be eligible to enroll now. All health plans include preventive care, prescriptions, emergency services, and more. 9 in 10 enrolling get financial help, and many pay $10 a month or less. Find out if you qualify at getcovered.nj.gov. That's getcovered.nj.gov.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The ESPN New York Couchcast is coming.
I just didn't feel like physically getting off the couch.
Don't miss this live stream event with your favorite ESPN New York personalities, including Dave Rothenberg.
Is football season here yet?
Rick DiPietro, Chris Carlin, Michael Kay. Football. And Don Hahn Rosenberg.
They're playing football!
It all happens September 29th when the Jets face the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Watch the guys' instant reactions and hear their unfiltered commentary all game long.
You're bad at football.
See it all unfold on the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
I'm just trying to have the best possible show. When does that start?
The ESPN New York Couchcast is brought to you by the All-American Ford Auto Group, Calandra's Bakery, and Jacob's Pickles.
Before I finish with your phone calls, let me get this out there initially. I think Bob Wischusen is one of the finest broadcasters in all of this country. Football, hockey, he's tremendous. College football, Jets radio, one of the best. Now, we all know the big play that was made with the Will McDonald block and then running it back. And I think Bob made a good call, but I can't tell. Let's listen.
Out of the hold of Riley Dixon. The snap clean, the placement down. The kick, it's blocked. It's loose in midfield. It's scooped up by Will McDonald. There he goes to the 20, 10, 5. That's a Jet touchdown. That's a Jet touchdown. Off of the blocked field goal. We're tied with 1:49 to go. Unbelievable.
It sounded okay from what I could hear. Now, if you've listened to me over the 20-some-odd years I've been on the station, most of them with Don, I used to give Don a hard time that Dave Maloney would step on him. We called it steppage. This was rampaging. Now, Anthony Beck is a nice enough guy. He's actually a good broadcaster, too, when he's breaking down games. But my note to Anthony would be, you're not calling college football in Oklahoma or Nebraska. You're just not. You can't be screaming at your top of the lungs when play-by-play's he's trying to do his job. You got to listen to the play-by-play guy. And then you could go as nutty as you want. And if I'm the engineer of that broadcast, I got to turn off Anthony Beck's mic. Now, Bob Wischusen's going to be a great teammate, and he will not say a word. Maybe he said something to Anthony off the air. You can't do that. And forget about, being a star. It's not about being a star. It's about letting your audience hear what's going on. You can't have Anthony Beck screaming at the top of his lungs while the play-by-play is going on. It's unprofessional. It's very, very unprofessional, and it's very, high schoolish. You got to know your role. That's not your role, is to be screaming at the top of your lungs so you can't hear the play-by-play guy. Again, has nothing to do with the play-by-play guy's ego. On radio, you have no idea what's going on if you can't hear the play-by-play guy. So what purpose is it? You having Anthony Beck scream at the top of his lungs? That's a bad look, Ant. And I don't criticize broadcasters because I know how hard a job it is. But you completely diminished the effectiveness of Bob Wischusen's call because we couldn't hear him. That doesn't make a good radio call. I guess maybe it could live a little bit more on TV, but if anybody did that on the network level on TV, I think they'd be fired. Can't do that, Ant. You can't. Go to Henry in South Carolina. Henry.
Michael, a quick reply to what you're talking about here. I agree. That was a way too much steppage. We know we don't like steppage here at ESPN New York. And I just wonder, Wendy Wischusen definitely wouldn't have been happy to hear Bob get cut off like that. So it's not not right. It's not what you want.
I love it.
Yeah, I had to throw that in. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that goes hand in hand with the very loud crowd noise that you hear on, College game day. I think that this is the broadcast, attempt to kind of feel like they're one with the fans and the excitement. But I think that as broadcasters, you kind of have a role to play, and that's not to, go overly crazy over the call. As exciting as it was.
And by the way, I do have to give credit to Q104.3. That's where the Jets are.
Right. Great work. Real quick, Michael, you were talking quick again about, Volpe and Caballero. I agree that Volpe is better suited as the starter But I do think that Caballero should be used, however it makes sense moving forward in the playoffs and even next year. I'm excited by this bench. We haven't seen a bench like this in many, many years. I feel like everybody kind of has a role they can play either in the beginning or the middle of the games, and it does give me a lot of hope. As wild as Caballero can be, I do think as an agitator, he's going to prove to be really, really useful moving forward.
I couldn't agree with you more. I love the pickup. I love him on the team. I really do. But for those that are looking at him, well, maybe next year he's going to be the starting shortstop. I don't know. I don't know. Remember, the Rays were in a bad situation with their shortstop because essentially he was going through a trial in his home country, and they tried several people there, and Caballero never had the job every single day. So I just don't think people look at him as a starting shortstop. He's an agitator. He is a guy who can put pressure on defense and things like that. But starting with shortstop, I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if that's the answer. Let's go to Troy in New Jersey.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? I just wanted to call in and say you're a legend. You should be really proud of yourself. And I was actually just going to tag on about the Caballero thing. I didn't know if you were saying that you believe that Caballero shouldn't start over Volpe, or if you think that's what they're going to do.
No, I believe it should be Volpe. I don't know what they're going to do. They could go the other way. I just don't think that Volpe, Troy, is any value on the bench. And I think Caballero has unbelievable value on the bench.
I understand, but Caballero, when he comes in, he's stealing bases every time. And as far as defense, yeah, he makes some mistakes, but Volpe's had this whole season to prove himself on defense, and he has however many errors, 20-something errors. So me personally, and I think a lot of Yankees fans would prefer Caballero. But again, that's just me.
No, don't. Hey, listen, your guess is as good as mine, Troy, and I think most Yankee fans would disagree with me and agree with you. My guess is that'll be Volpe. My guess. But maybe it's a fluid thing, and it could be a game-by-game thing. Hey, by the way, the Giants signed Young-Ho Koo, a former North Jersey high school standout kicker. He joins the Giants. Giants' situation is tough with kicking, especially with Gano continuing to get injured, and putting the coach in a bad situation as well. Well, there it is. Fastest 2 hours in sports. Gone again like that. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1 with more. That's a Mike Lupica day in the 2 o'clock hour as well. We'll have other guests, and we'll talk about the Mets tonight, the Yankees tonight as well, and the fallout with Jaxson Dart being named as a starter. I'm sure that Don Hahn and Rosenberg come at a moment. We'll have more take on that as well. That's the big news of the day. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 1.
This fall, golf's greatest rivalry comes alive like never before. The Ryder Cup isn't just at Bethpage Black, it's everywhere. From a high-octane fan zone at Rockefeller Center to official watch parties across Manhattan to curated fan kits bringing the action home. You can rally with Team USA or Team Europe wherever